Welcome. I'm really, really glad you're here. Before we do anything else, I want to name something out loud because many women come into conversations like this already braced, already wondering what they're about to be told they're doing wrong. This is not a workshop about fixing you. It's not about hustling your hormones into submission. It's not about chasing the perfect supplement or becoming a better menopausal woman. This is about understanding what happens in your body, your brain, your nervous system, and honestly, your soul. So the fear starts to loosen its grip and the shame finally softens. You don't need to impress me. You don't need to take perfect notes. You don't need to hold it all together here. Just let yourself land. There's a moment, often a quiet one, in midlife where a woman thinks, what is happening to me? Your body feels unfamiliar. Your emotions feel louder, sharper, closer to the surface. Your brain doesn't work the way it used to, and that can be terrifying, especially if you've always been capable, competent, and high functioning. So let me say this clearly before we go any further. You are not falling apart. What you're experiencing is not a breakdown, it's a reorganization. Something intelligent is happening beneath the chaos. And even if it doesn't feel that way yet, this phase feels messy, not because it's wrong, but because it's alive. We've been taught subtly and not so subtly that midlife is kind of a cliff, that after a certain age, things only go downhill. Energy, beauty, relevance, and joy. But what if that story is incomplete? What if this season isn't the end of your vitality or your power, but the beginning of a deeper, truer expression of who you are? This workshop isn't about balancing hormones in isolation. It's about understanding why your body is changing, why old strategies stop working, and why this transition feels so intense. When a woman understands herself, her nervous system calms. And when the nervous system calms, healing becomes possible. That's the work we're doing here. One of the most harmful oversimplifications are given is this idea that menopause is just hormones. Because when you're told that and your experience feels massive, layered, and overwhelming, you assume you're the problem. The truth is, menopause is not one change. It's many systems shifting at the same time. Your hormones, your nervous system, your brain chemistry, your metabolism, your sense of identity and tolerance. When no one explains that, women think they're losing themselves. You're not losing yourself. You're in transition. Estrogen and progesterone don't just influence reproduction. They are deeply involved in how our brain communicates. They affect sleep, mood, memory, stress resilience, temperature regulation. So when these hormones fluctuate and decline, your brain doesn't just lose something, it rewires. That's why you may feel more sensitive, more reactive, or more easily overwhelmed than you used to. That's not weakness. That's not failure. That's physiology meeting a body that's adapting. Hot flashes, sleep disruption, anxiety, brain fog, changes in libido or desire. These symptoms are often treated like personal shortcomings or worse, ignored altogether. But symptoms are not betrayals. They're signals. Your body's way of saying, the way we've been doing things no longer works. I need something different now. Listening, not judging, is the first act of healing. So many women tell me, I don't feel like myself anymore. And what I often want to say back, gently, is which self? The self that powered through exhaustion? The self that overrode her intuition? The self that made it work no matter the cost? Menopause often strips away our ability to abandon ourselves. What rises instead is an emotional honesty, sometimes raw, sometimes inconvenient, but deeply true. This isn't instability, it's the truth coming closer to the surface. There is no gold standard menopause experience. Some women feel physical symptoms first, others feel emotional or existential shifts. Some feel grief, some feel rage, some feel relief. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to create unnecessary suffering. Your experience is valid exactly as it is. You're not doing this wrong. Let's clear a few things up. Menopause is not the end of your sexuality. It is not the end of your relevance. It is not a slow fade into invisibility. Those are cultural myths, not biological truths. And when women internalize them, the suffering multiplies. We're here to tell a truer story. Before we go any further, let's pause. If it feels comfortable, place a hand on your chest. Take a slow, deep breath in and a gentle breath out. Let your body hear this, not just your mind. I am safe. I am not broken. I am in transition. You don't need to rush this. Across cultures, long before menopause was medicalized or minimized, this transition was honored. It marked a woman's movement into wisdom, discernment, and authority. In many traditions, this was the season where a woman became less externally driven and more internally guided. Her voice carried weight. Her intuition mattered. Western culture lost that language, but your body didn't. When people don't have a map, they assume they're lost. That's what's happening to so many women in midlife. You're navigating real physiological, emotional, and identity level changes, but no one ever oriented you to what was coming. So the default thought becomes, I must be failing. You're not lost. You are never just given the language, the framework, the reassurance that this is a known human transition. This framework is intentionally simple because complexity overwhelms an already sensitive nervous system. You don't jump to fixing, you don't rush to optimization, you don't bypass the emotional experience. You move gently, in order. When women try to skip steps, they stay anxious. When they move in sequence, something settles. This is how confusion becomes clarity. Orientation is powerful medicine. When your brain understands why something is happening, it stops scanning for danger. This is why simply learning what menopause actually is can bring immediate relief. Orientation doesn't fix everything, but it tells your nervous system, I'm not crazy, I am not alone, this has a name, and that alone can change how you feel in your body. Validation is where shame begins to dissolve. So many women have been subtly or overtly told that their symptoms are exaggerated, emotional, or imagined. Validation means we stop questioning our lived experience. Your symptoms make sense. Your reactions make sense. Your exhaustion makes sense. Nothing about this means you're failing at womanhood. Reframing doesn't mean pretending this is easy or positive all the time. It means placing your experience inside a larger, wiser context. What used to work no longer does, not because you failed, but because you're evolving. Midlife often removes our ability to tolerate what no longer fits. That's not a loss. That's discernment being born. Here's something most women are never told. Before we fix hormones, optimize nutrition, or change routines, the nervous system needs to feel safe first. If your system is constantly braced, overwhelmed, or overstimulated, no plan will land the way it's meant to. Calm is not laziness, calm is repair. Regulation is not the opposite of progress, it's the foundation of it. Reclaiming yourself doesn't mean becoming someone new. It means remembering who you were before you learned to override your needs, your intuition, and your inner signals. Many women say, I feel like myself again, but wiser. That's reclamation. One of the most misunderstood aspects of menopause is this shift in tolerance. You may notice you have less patience for nonsense, less desire to over-explain, less willingness to betray yourself. This is often labeled as bitterness, but it's not bitterness. It's discernment. It's clarity. It's wisdom finding a new voice. Many women enter menopause alongside other major life transitions, transitions in identity, purpose, relationships, or roles. These years are often more about healing old wounds, redefining authority, and reclaiming self-trust. When we understand the timing, we stop taking the experience personally. Menopause often mirrors the heroine's journey. There is a descent, where familiar identities fall away. There's disorientation, where nothing quite works the same. And then there's the return, with insight, wisdom, and a deeper sense of self. Meaning transforms struggle into initiation. You don't skip the descent, but you don't stay there forever either. There's a pattern I see again and again in midlife women, especially women who are capable, responsible, and used to holding a lot. High output, high responsibility, periods of brilliance followed by deep exhaustion. You've likely been the one others rely on, the one who figures things out, the one who pushes through and makes it work. Menopause is often the moment when the body quietly, or not so quietly, says, I need a different pace now. This isn't a breakdown of capacity, it's wisdom arriving in the body. One of the biggest misunderstandings about menopause is treating it like a simple hormone deficiency. For many women, this transition isn't about something being low or missing. It's about how systems are communicating or miscommunicating. Your nervous system, stress response, metabolism, and hormones are renegotiating how they work together. That's why old fixes stop working. Not because you're broken, but because the rules changed. A lot of women try to fix midlife symptoms by doubling down on what used to work. More discipline, more intensity, more control, more pushing through. But menopause lowers your tolerance for aggressive strategies, physically, emotionally, and neurologically. The body isn't rejecting you. It's just asking for a different relationship, one rooted in listening instead of overriding. In midlife, the order of healing matters more than ever. First, the nervous system needs to feel safe. Then the body can receive support. Only after that does strength and resilience rebuild. When women skip regulation and jump straight to fixing, everything feels harder and often more discouraging. Calm is not the opposite of progress, it's the doorway to it. If your nervous system is constantly overstimulated, nothing else works the way it should. Sleep becomes fragile, emotions spike more quickly, hormonal symptoms intensify. This doesn't mean you're fragile, it means your system is asking for more rhythm, recovery, and regulation. Safety is the foundation of healing in menopause, not willpower. Supporting your body in midlife doesn't require dramatic overhauls. Often, it's the small, consistent anchors that make the biggest difference. Things like exposure to natural light early in the day, nourishment instead of skipping meals, movement that supports rather than exhausts, at least one moment each day that is intentionally non-productive. These aren't luxuries. They're signals of safety, and safety is deeply healing to a menopausal nervous system. During menopause, the body becomes more sensitive to stress and blood sugar swings. When energy crashes, especially later in the day, sleep is disrupted, emotions intensify, and symptoms amplify. This isn't about restriction, perfection, or control. It's about steadiness, rhythm, and consistency. When hormones are used in menopause, the goal isn't to chase youth or perfection. It's to restore communication so the brain, body, and nervous system can work together again. Gentle, steady, individualized support works far better than aggressive approaches at this stage of life. This is about supporting wisdom, not overriding it. Most women don't need more intensity, they need more attunement. Menopause often asks for less pushing, more listening, steadier rhythms, and kinder expectations. When women respond this way, symptoms often soften, not because they're fixed, but because the body finally feels met. There's something important I want to normalize here, because it can feel unsettling if no one names it. As hormones shift, especially estrogen and progesterone, the buffering they once provided can soften. And when that happens, old emotions, memories, or patterns can surface. This doesn't mean you're going backward. It doesn't mean you're too sensitive. And it certainly doesn't mean something's wrong. It means your system is finally having the capacity to integrate what was once tucked away. When people hear inner child work, they often imagine digging everything up, reliving the past, or opening wounds they don't feel equipped to handle. That's not what this season is asking for. In menopause, inner child work is often very simple and very tender. It's about responding to yourself with kindness instead of criticism, meeting overwhelm with compassion, and offering reassurance instead of judgment. There will still be moments when life feels loud, when emotions spike, when your patience runs thin, when everything feels like too much. Regulation doesn't mean you never feel those things. It means you know now how to come back. Back to your breath, back to your body, back to yourself. You don't need to suppress what you feel. You need tools that help you stay in relationship with yourself when things do get intense. Self-care in midlife is often misunderstood. It's not another thing to do perfectly. It's not bubble baths as avoidance, and it's definitely not pushing yourself to do better. Self-care in this season is honesty. Honesty about your limits, honesty about your capacity, honesty about what truly nourishes you now, not 10 years ago. Rest isn't indulgent, it's reparative. Your body has been communicating with you this entire time through symptoms, sensations, and shifts in energy. Menopause often removes our ability to override those messages. Listening becomes the medicine. When you stop fighting your body and start partnering with it, trust begins to build. And trust is everything in this season. One of the most painful aspects of menopause is the isolation. So many women think they're the only ones struggling, the only ones feeling unrecognizable, overwhelmed, or unsure. Healing happens in connection. When women share language, stories, and truth, shame dissolves. You don't need advice right now. You need resonance. Menopause is not just a biological event. It is a full body, full life transition. When we focus only on the physical, women feel unseen. When we focus only on meaning, women feel unsupported. True healing happens when physiology and wisdom are honored together. This is where science meets soul. If nothing else, I hope you leave this workshop feeling oriented. Understanding changes everything. When fear dissolves, clarity takes its place, and clarity is deeply calming to the nervous system. This isn't about having all the answers. It's about finally knowing how to listen. This transition isn't happening to punish you. It isn't here because you did something wrong. It's happening because something in you is ready to emerge wiser, clearer, more self-trusting. You are not the problem to be solved. You are the portal being opened. Let's pause one last time. One slow breath in, one gentle breath out. Let your body feel what your mind may still be catching up to. You're not late. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be. Midlife isn't the end of your story. It's the moment your truth becomes non-negotiable, where your energy becomes precious, where your intuition gets louder, where your life starts to feel more honest. You're not fading, you're rising. Thank you for trusting me with this moment. Thank you for showing up, even if you came in tired, skeptical, or unsure. You are not late, you are not broken, and you're absolutely not alone. You're right on time.